Yeah, dude, that sweater. You need a shirt.
I got shirts, but I like this sweater. I want to wear the sweater.
It hides all the things that you need.
Damn,
to
I
hide.
didn't bring my notebooks.
Go get it.
We'll just fly. But you put your phone on silent?
Yeah, it's on silent.
It's not vibrate.
Nope.
Hey. Looks good, I think. What happens in the garage stays in the garage.
That's right. That's right.
I'm trying to do this too. For me.
Trying not to put your
leg
I'm
trying
up?
to just be in one fucking spot and just done.
That's how I sit normally, so I feel like if I sit like this, I'm going to look
like bringing the footstool
real
too.
robotic.
I know. That's
down.
how I'm going to be. No, until I get better
Hello.
chairs.
Talking about things.
I do need two of the same chairs. Anyways. Ready?
Let's do it. First topic.
I had to clap because that's how you do the audio link.
Oh.
Just one of us does.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. I plan on putting all this in here. By the way.
That's good. I'm glad. People need to see it.
Good. All right, man. What's up, Ramil? For those of you guys that don't know, this is 82&you.
That's
first
82&you.
First episode, hopefully. No, this is 82.
Oh, this whole thing.
Yeah. I'm Mike.
This is Ramil.
That's Ramil.
How's it going?
I was already misplacing the microphone, talking this way. This is going to take a long time to get used to.
Yeah, we got to adjust. It's an adjustment period, folks.
I basically want to start off just by mentioning that this podcast is whatever you want it to be.
Whatever you want it to be.
I don't have any. I've gone back and forth on whether or not it should be a conspiracy podcast, a comedy podcast, an opinion podcast.
It's just information, bro.
It's not even that, because what if tomorrow I bring in a guy who tells me how to grow good vegetables?
Well, it's information.
Ooh, it's good. That's true. Okay, shit. Okay, so it's information.
Information, super hard.
Combined with opinions.
Stuff
like that. Who knows?
And facts.
I'm going to just do this. Anyways, today is Thursday. What's that?
July
2nd?
2nd.
The 2nd. If this podcast is not out to you guys on YouTube by 4th of July, apologies. Apologies if it's not out for a month. This was supposed to be done in January of 2020.
We're here.
We're 7 months behind.
That's what counts.
Here we are. I finally bought a couple microphones and some lights.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to tear us up about how shitty it looks, but
looks
fuck you.
Great. You guys are going to love it.
We'll take back the FU. I keep debating, like, should I try to maintain good...
Fuck no is what I say.
Not cussing and stuff.
Say what the fuck you want.
I don't know, man. YouTube won't put a lot of money behind it.
I don't know. I think they'll put it on there. I see a lot of YouTube videos that people are cursing and cussing.
It's true. It's true.
I mean, look at the main guy.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was thinking of.
You know what? Let's talk about Joe Rogan.
Let's talk about Joe Rogan.
He's going to Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody already knows this by now.
Mm-hmm.
$100 million contract, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Good for him. I aspire to have a tenth of what he's at.
That's for sure.
Honestly, I would just aspire to have a studio like his and have the great guests that he's had on. But his homeboy, Chris D'Elia, is in trouble this week.
For what?
My homeboy too. What do you mean for what? You text me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes these names don't I still have so many names it doesn't register all the time.
Chris D'Elia. So let me tell you what. So we all know that Chris D'Elia is under investigation. It's investigation. Allegations of grooming. Probably true. Grooming underage girls. Yeah. It probably is true, but 100%. At the same time, I don't think it's as sinister as it seems. And also, there's a good divide that needs to be set and a line to be drawn that says his allegations have to do with him being a creepo and like, sorry, bro, you messed up, you went too far, if this is true, as opposed to most of the stuff that we're looking into that deals with actual pedophilia and underage, like young kids, like that's 6 years old, 10 years old, stuff like that. For me, I'm just saying, it's a big line difference compared to him possibly, maybe, allegedly texting a girl who was 17.
But at the same time, I mean, that's you can see the character of someone and where they're probably going to end up going if they were. I mean, if he was famous enough, he'd probably join the club in 0.2 seconds.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know him, so I can't speculate on him.
Yeah.
What I wanted to get to, not talking about him, or whatever, because I think he's awesome.
Yeah,
and
he's funny.
And hopefully one day he'll be on this podcast.
Yeah.
In 10 years when his reputation is better, he's like, bro, I'll go right now. Nobody's fucking booking me for shit.
I need something.
Joe Rogan and Chris D'Elia. Some people think that the reason Chris D'Elia's got these allegations coming out because he put out his emails and text messaging and stuff and showed basically what he was doing, and it really seems like maybe.
Wait, so he put his own text messages out with a 17-year-old girl?
Yeah. So he released the messages.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
And in the messages, this is from what I've heard because I haven't looked at it. So by listening to other podcasts and other people talking about it, it seems like so he put his stuff out. I know that I've heard that, and then in his stuff, it kind of shows that he wasn't really grooming like it said he was grooming. It seemed like he was talking to a girl, found out how old she was. They stopped talking. Then they started talking again later when she was of age that she hit him up. A lot of stuff like that. A lot of like back and forth on what was a timeline, what was really going on. Yeah. But the conspiracy of it, the point being that some people think they're just doing that to go after Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Because they can't touch Joe because hasn't done anything wrong, supposedly, he's moving over to Spotify, has this big deal, and that this all comes down from him not bringing on any more people that are on the left on his podcast. Because he had Bernie Sanders, he had Andrew Yang, he had
many leftists.
I was gonna say Pelosi, but not. I wish. Fucking Pelosi.
Start spittling.
The good-looking girl from Hawaii.
I don't know.
You do, but
I
anyways.
Do, but I don't know.
So he had all these left people on, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody on the right because it's just Trump, so there's nobody to bring on anyways.
Yeah.
But then he said he wasn't going to do it anymore because he knows that he's too popular and like he realizes that his influence is
bigger.
A big wave that basically if he has somebody on, it looks like he's endorsing this person even though he's just trying to have a conversation about it. So people are saying like, oh, you're obviously left. We should vote for this too, or oh, we should vote for Bernie, or we should vote for this because they were on Joe Rogan, and I love Joe Rogan because that's all people need. That nobody gives a shit. Anyways, so he said he's gonna stop doing that. He's not promoting any of that stuff. He's also kind of doubled down and gone back on some of the things he said. So speculation, allegations that people are going after Chris D'Elia, and it just happens to come up now.
Okay,
and it's supposed to be a stab at Joe.
Let me throw my opinion in here on Joe Rogan and why he's even doing what is it. My opinion on Joe Rogan, I've never really liked Joe Rogan. I've always thought Joe Rogan was a sellout.
As a person or as a
no, as a person, he seems like a cool guy. I mean,
he's a cool guy.
He does cool stuff. Yeah, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of pedophiles out there that are cool guys. I'm not saying he's a pedophile.
I was gonna say, well,
not at all. Not at all. What I'm saying is that just because he's a cool guy in person doesn't mean that he's behind closed doors what he's doing. But anyways, my whole thing with Joe Rogan is this whole time, like you said, he's been on the podcast and he's been doing a lot of left people for a long period of time because a lot of people were what I felt were more towards that side of things. That's what he felt like was people follow these people more. The popularity was more over there. The younger generation is all about the left side and this and this and that. And it just seems kind of odd to me that the minute that the leftists started to really show their true colors, liberals and all this crap that's been going on, he decided to go, you know what? I'm going to start talking about Trump. I'm going to start talking about how he's so much better than Biden. And I'm going to go to Spotify now because of all that stuff. Is it a ploy for him to just keep his demographic because he sees where it's going? People are starting to stop supporting the people he had on and are now wanting to support the other side of the political spectrum, or even if it's not the political spectrum, he's just moving away from that because of how crazy everything had went. And I just want to add on here that Joe Rogan at one point in time did say that he would do anything possible if you showed him a UFO.
Dude.
And this was before he got famous. And 7 months after he said that statement, 7 or 8 months after he said that statement, boom, all of a sudden he blows up and now he's a superstar.
He was famous at that time.
No, he was not famous.
He literally was on a TV show that he was like the host of basically, or the main
that was like his first
investigating conspiracies.
But it wasn't like a huge TV show.
He wasn't as big as he is now.
Yeah, he wasn't big at all.
But yeah, we all know that
nobody even knew who he was.
He said, show me, I'll lie to my mother, I'll lie to my wife, whoever I got to, just show me the aliens, whatever. First of all, we're not going to get into aliens today.
Yeah.
And that doesn't...
It's a whole nother thing.
That does not... I don't want to say prove, because it's not about proof, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So why would... Just to go on that, and I already didn't anticipate talking about Joe Rogan this much.
Yeah. Whatever comes, man.
But... why would he, one, go against his demographic, right? So if he's got all these people from the left and and everybody enjoys that, yeah, we can say people are breaking away from there, but we don't know what the numbers are. It's a big risk to take. Also, mainstream, which he's mainstream, even though he's not CNN or whatever. Like he's the biggest name there is when it comes to
podcasts, anything like that.
Just alternative media.
Yeah, definitely.
It's his name first. You stick with what you know. You know what I mean? It is weird that I wouldn't say he's endorsing Trump, but at the same time, he's very smart, right? So
very smart.
He's
an intellectual.
He's not saying anything that is a red flag to me. Obviously, if we're talking about Trump and Biden, how much of an idiot would he need to look like to say, I still support Joe Biden just because it's not Trump? Yeah. When obviously it's obvious that Joe Biden is deteriorating, can't form a sentence. If you haven't seen it yet, you got to find the ad that he just came out with where he fumbled his own words. This was like a commercial ad, right? So
Joe Biden?
They're like, ready, 3, 2, 1, action. Yeah, Biden, action. You know, they gave him big fucking cue cards with the words on it. It's like, just say this, Joe, just say this. 2 sentences, maybe.
Oh yeah,
and he's fumbling already.
I'm surprised it was 2 sentences.
He finished the rest strong, but it was a terrible, shitty. I told you it was on vibrate. It wasn't even on silent. Put it on silent right now. It's fine.
It's on silent.
Oh, really? Because it just went.
That's just because it's my alarm. It's my alarm, folks. Don't worry about it. All right, it's on silent.
Point is, the commercial was shit. He fumbled. He obviously isn't. He shows that he's not capable of
100%
being in charge.
Yeah.
So it'd be stupid for Joe to go endorse him still.
Yeah, exactly.
This is supposed to be about Chris D'Elia and whether or not he's being targeted for Rogan. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that Rogan's only had people on the left, because who would you bring on that's on the right?
Well, I wouldn't really even say that he just brings on people that are from the left, but the mentality of the people that he brings on, a lot of the mentality of the people that he brings on are people that have this belief that aligns with a lot of these other movements that are going on in the world right now.
How long do you think we've been talking?
10 minutes?
No, I was going to say 10 too. I want to check the cameras at 25 minutes because they do funky stuff on the phone. Sometimes they only go for a half hour. Yeah, and they'll stop recording. So I want to check at 25 and then reset and make sure it goes again.
Are we going to cut this out?
No. Oh, honestly, I don't want to edit anything.
I don't want to
except
edit
for the beginning and end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like intro, outro shit. Yeah. But I don't want it to have cuts in between. I just want it to just roll.
Just to flow.
Yeah. Well, it will flow, hopefully, at some point.
Yeah, it's flowing right now.
Anyways,
I feel it flowing.
The
juice is flowing.
The Joe Rogan and his guests.
And what's the guy's last name? What the hell? How do you pronounce it?
D'Elia.
D'Elia.
Yeah.
D'Elia. Chris D'Elia.
Yeah. Well, now I still want to talk about Joe Rogan, though. I still want to talk about how the guests that he has on. Those were all people that basically were in the spotlight a little bit. I'm surprised he didn't have AOC on. Thank God he didn't fucking have AOC on. But there's nobody to bring in from the right because nobody's running on the right. Right. I think there might have been one person, that dude who was not Buttigieg, but the guy that had his own millions or whatever. He was going to pay for his own campaign or something like that. Then he dropped out. Basically, so there could only be one side. There's nobody else to bring in. That wasn't the point I wanted.
But I don't even care about. The thing is, I don't even care about like the left Congress people and the left presidential candidates.
What it was. Time. That's what it was. But Joe Rogan has stated that he's a liberal-minded person, so he identifies. He said he doesn't identify. I don't want to put words in his mouth and say he's on one side or the other, but he shows that he leans liberal. But when he says liberal, he's talking about old school liberal, not what liberal is now.
JFK liberal, not nowadays.
right.
Nowadays
somewhere in there. Yeah. Joe, we don't know you, so I'm not saying for sure.
This is speculation, Joe. So
the point being, you preach what you know. So that's what he knows. He likes that side. He leans to that kind of mindset, which I do not want to say where I lean because I don't know. You can't say fucking anything right now. If you pick a side, then you're stuck to that side forever. Yeah. But I see both sides for sure. Yeah. I definitely old school both sides.
Well, you gotta take things from both sides because they both have good points to it. And the thing is that nowadays the liberals are not the same as they were 60 years ago. If a liberal from 60 years ago came today, they would be considered someone who's a conservative because their mindset is completely different. These new liberals are social democrats. That's what they should classify themselves, and not as really liberals.
Did you see the link I sent you today for Agenda 2?
Yeah, I just watched it.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
It was good, right?
Yeah, it was really good, actually.
I didn't finish it. I think that came out in 2016.
Yeah, they did. No, 2015 is what, because the guy said by 2016
will be the
last time I'll be able to see a Republican
So I haven't
president.
finished it yet. I still have like 50 minutes left. But somebody on Twitter sent it to me, and I was like, oh, my first conspiracy message.
Yeah, nice.
And I checked it. I found another link for it that showed it came out in 2015 or whatever it was. And I was like, this is an old ass movie. And I kind of remember Agenda 1.
Yeah.
I'm picturing the case, but I'm also maybe picturing the Zeitgeist movie.
Yeah.
But either way, I started watching it and I was like, this is fantastic. So it said it's only good to go till the 6th. So I retweeted the link.
So download it.
If you can find it. If you can find it. This will be up probably, hopefully before the 6th, but if not, if you can find it, Agenda 2. It's an old movie, but it's still relevant for what's up.
Maybe we'll download
today.
it and we'll send it to people.
Maybe to the 2 people that are watching this, with me and you watching it after
people, I'm gonna say.
me, you, and our wives.
Yeah, our wives.
Honey, watch it again. Watch it again. But that was a really good one.
It was a really good one. And you know what? When I was watching it, I almost didn't watch it because the very first guy comes in and he said he's from Cuba and that exactly what's happening in America now is what's happening over in Cuba. And what
happened in Cuba?
How they went from a democratic society over to a communistic society, and he saw the fall of democracy while he was there, and that's what he sees right now. And one of the things that almost got me to like not watch it was the fact that, and then I started watching War, and it made a lot more sense when he's talking about how much everything is gearing towards the communistic way of life. And that's exactly what I was going to put the point on, is the difference between any other social country like Venezuela or Cuba or any of these places that have communistic places is that they're not rooted in the freedom like America has. Like in 1776, when we decided to go against the Great Britain and decided to take our own land back in those days, we have always and always will have the means to protect ourselves. In like Cuba and all these other different places, they don't have the means like we do over here.
Self-defense.
And self-defense. Bear arms and all that kind of stuff. And we left Great Britain to come over here, or Americans left Great Britain to come over here and get away from all of the control, the taxes, the what they were doing when they came over here. But
what we have now.
Huh?
What we have now.
What we have now. Yeah, what's going on right now. Exactly. But the thing is that we were over here since like the 1500s, right? We came over here in Plymouth Rock in like the 1500s and started to establish the land. And we had that idea in the mindset that we were going to have this free land in the first place. And then when you had the redcoats coming over here, that was in like the 1700s that you started having the redcoats start to come over to America and just decide, you know what, we're going to fucking tax you because the Queen tells us to come over here and do that. And so more and more people started coming over. And it took 70 something years for the people to get fed up to the point where they're like, you know what, we're just going to go to war with you guys because we're not going to keep dealing with this kind of crap. And that's kind of what I feel like is going on. The same thing is going on now. We had established that freedom. It's been ironically 200 something years and almost 270 years, something like that. And now we're getting to this point where there's a lot of people that are sitting lying in wait, and they're very angry and they're very agitated and they're very irritated about all the stuff that's going on. And all we need is that one thing to make people really stand up and say, I've had enough of this crap. And the reason I think that it hasn't happened yet is because it's not the government like it was the redcoats versus the citizens. It's not the government versus the citizens. Right now, what they've done is they've pitted citizens against citizens. And so our focus is more on our other citizens that are in the United States of America, as opposed to the government coming in doing things like martial law. Because if martial law were to happen right now, I can guarantee you half the population would stand up with their guns. The militias that they have that are actively the Tea Party militias, they would all stand up and say, I've had enough of this, let's go to war, in a civil war. But we aren't focused on the government. The government isn't coming in. The Congress has completely skewed where our focus should be at. Our focus should be on the people that are creating the laws, the people that are making these big movements come forward and say, we're more important than you, or I'm more important than you. We're not more important than either one of us. What we all need to do is come together and go against the people that are controlling these types of people. And I think that the only reason why we haven't seen that tipping point, or us go over that tipping point yet, is because it just hasn't hit that mark where the majority of people have decided that enough is enough, and we need to go against the people that are controlling this situation in the background.
That was a lot of information.
That was, yeah. I understand.
Good job, though.
Little rant.
So just on your last half, you brought up what I would say too, which is people aren't focused on the right enemy. Mm-hmm. They're focused on each other. Mm-hmm. Thanks to the media and everything else. Mm-hmm. This is what brings me to my pessimistic view, is that the media does such a good job that whatever story they want us to believe, we believe. Just like what Eddie Bravo was saying in that video that you sent me. Eddie Bravo, please come on the podcast. We love you. Bring Sam. Even if you don't know what's going on and you don't pay attention to what's going on, you're still falling into this one side because you're hearing about it from. Drink that away from the mic.
All different angles.
Drink that from a different angle from the mic. You're still hearing it from somebody else. Yeah. And the version of what you're going to hear is most likely a conspiracy theory, because the media hypes it up that whatever we talk about that's alternative to what they say is conspiracy, or it's the mainstream. So either way, it's going to lead people on one side or the other. I'm picking a side, or I'm staying in the middle where I don't need. Yeah. So my thing is, the focus is the people in the middle, right? Yeah. The silent majority, the real silent majority. You've got your loudmouth leftists out there with their signs. You've got your people with their ARs, their militias and stuff on the other side.
Loudmouth rightists.
Basically, yeah. I don't want to say, because they'll stand in silence. They're more quiet. They don't. Not to say that all of them are, because I've seen plenty of videos of them antagonizing each other and doing the same thing. But that's the thing, is they're falling to the sides where my side is right, your side is wrong, and now they're battling each other. So those of us that are in the middle, the majority people that are just kind of in wait to see what happens, what I worry is when it comes time if it comes time, let's say if, I hate predicting like all this stuff is actually going to go down, because who knows? There's a lot of factors that play.
A lot.
If it comes time to where action needs to be taken, how do those people divide themselves? Because most likely they're going to say, okay, now it's time for me to choose a side. Because what happens when you go to war? It's a two-party system, right? So it's either it's me versus this. Yeah. And it's not the third person over there. It's 100%. Divide and conquer, right? So we're still, those people, I feel like, are still not aware. That's what hopefully this podcast does, and other people talking stuff too, to bring the awareness of what is, or who is the focus of the quote-unquote war that's supposed to be coming, right? And getting people to pay attention. I wrote something down in my notebook that I didn't bring today, that it seems so obvious, like the name Rockefeller, right? Yeah. How many years have we been listening to the name Rockefeller?
So many years.
How many years?
Yes,
what's
over a decade?
I was going to say, so when's the first time you think you heard Rockefeller?
The first time I ever heard Rockefeller was probably, I'd say at least 2006, 2007 is when I very first started hearing things about the Rockefeller and the banks. That was the main thing that drew me into the Rockefeller.
Right, because of the fucking Federal Reserve.
Yeah, Federal Reserve.
So me too. I'd say, I keep wanting to say like 08, 09. Yeah. I can't remember. We talked about it a little bit. Yeah. But, well, over a decade. Yeah. So for over a decade, there's still people that I talk to that
have no idea about it?
Have no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
And they can pick up a phone. They can pick up a book. Yeah. They could listen to C-SPAN. Yeah. They could. There's a lot of ways, or in conversations where you're like, you mentioned the name Rockefeller, and they're like, what's that? I mean, what's that? How do you still not know?
Yeah, right.
Like, obviously, we know because we've been in the know for a while. Yeah. We've been, looking at this stuff every day. But those people that are in the middle, the silent majority, I don't think a lot of them know. No. Now, because of the Q stuff going on, I feel like a lot of those silent majority are those people too. But those, point being, those people are still, when it all comes time, let me go with this side over here. Let me go with my conservative side, my malicious side, my whatever side. And then the point is, everybody's still going to divide into two and then take to the streets and look for the other person who's not like me, instead of going after the archetypes that's up there, like the people that are really in control of stuff. Because one, they don't know who they are. Two, they don't know how to access them. And three, we don't know how to fight them. Yeah. Right? Because like I've said before too, like our guns versus their drones, or their chemical weapons and stuff isn't anything. And I believe in the power of the people and the majority and stuff. But unless we know the enemy, which we don't, because they're divided. And it's not just the enemy in the States. It's
not everybody has to know the enemy. Just enough people have to know the enemy.
No, I think in this case, because since there's too many different enemies, we need to know who's not our enemy, and we need to focus more on getting people to realize that guy over there who says BLM and that person over there who says women's rights and that guy who says I should be able to own guns, all of you are still the same. Yeah. we're all on the same team. And so instead of getting us to focus on the bad, let's get us to focus on who's not bad.
Yeah.
And recognize that I don't agree with you. I don't like you. You smell funny. You look different.
Right.
But whatever it is, you're still on my team. Because if we're going to go play football and there's only 2 of me and there's a team of 11, I don't want to play against them.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that when it comes to the middle, it's more of a question at that point of two things. One is going to be morality, and 2 is going to be the environment that you surround yourself in. So a lot of the kids that are supporting all of the stuff that's going on, the rioting and the looting, the BLM and all this other stuff, a lot of these people are of the younger generation. There's a lot of older generation people out there too, but a lot of them are the younger generation that don't have a stake in being a 8 to 9 to 5 taxpayer, work hard for your money, family man type,
fresh out of college or still in college.
Right. So they want everything just kind of given to them and stuff like that. But when it comes to the middle, and there's a lot of people that are still in the middle that are still kind of in that mindset, and they're still in the independent mindset. But what I think is going on, especially right now, is that so you have these riots and the looting and all this other stuff happening, which is making people go like, how are these people getting away with doing all this stuff, right? And then they're going on the internet and they're researching how in the world these people are going. Well, who funds BLM? You know what I mean? And then they find out, oh, it's George Soros. And that kind of puts questions in their mind. Well, why is George Soros funding BLM? And then they go into a little bit more research. And that's the beginning of the rabbit hole, of one rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And then as time keeps going on and more people see that what they thought these people were aren't what they are, they're going to have to question what their reality is. They're either going to A, question their reality, or B, they're going to just double down and continue to live in the lies that they've told themselves.
So I'll say that happens, but in my brain, I'm saying like 1 out of 10 people goes down that rabbit hole. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because if somebody sees all the chaos going on and they're saying, how is this okay? And then they go to Google, why isn't anything happening to the rioters? That's probably going to be the only question that they ask. And whatever comes up is whatever Google's algorithm decides to tell you. So now you're already, I got my answer from Google.
Yeah.
Because then you go back down to where most people don't know that you can't trust Google as a resource because they put the top 10, to give you the information they want to provide. So for someone to say like, I want to see who's funding. Yeah. Most people will be like, funding, it's a voluntary protest.
Yeah, right.
Get together. You probably get on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, make a group, and then there you go. Most people, that's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people still don't know where to follow the breadcrumbs from. Like, what's the starting point?
And that's where it comes up to people like you and I, where we do things like this. We have Instagram pages, meme pages, because right now we live in a meme generation, and that's what's going to take over. If anything, is going to be the memes.
Fucking memes,
the
dude.
Memes, man. It's a meme war. Everybody talks about right now. Is the meme war that's happening. It's like the
I
Cold
heard about
War.
it for the Trump campaign that everyone talked about. It was the memes that helped sway the election in some ways. And even at that time, I was still like, I'm not into the memes.
The memes.
I hate it when everyone says memes.
The memes.
I wasn't into memes at that point. And then I don't make any now, but I love seeing them. Yeah. And some of them are so funny.
Well, it's such a quick source of information, too.
But that's the problem, too, is what happens if it's false information or it's information that strews somebody's decision to be one way or the other. Yeah. Not to say right or wrong, because I don't want to imply that we're right and they're wrong, but it's not a valid source. So it's a piece of the puzzle, a small piece, even though it's a big piece because of how social media and stuff is. But you're right. Something like this is an outlet for people to get information, hopefully. Or I feel like I especially want to try to spend time speculating on my opinions on the information that I've already got and not preach to others
about what they should be believing.
Just me as the host?
As the host.
As the captain of
That's
the ship.
what they call that. Yeah,
the host, as the captain of the ship, as the eyes in the sky, as the man with the plane.
Give me another one.
I have one more, but I forgot what it was. It was part of the, like, what's the intro going to be? Should I say this? Should I say that?
Yeah.
But anyways.
I digress.
But that's why eventually I would love to get to a point where I do have people that they specialize in their one thing. Yeah. That's why I shout out to Sam Tripoli at Tinfoil Hat podcast.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to him, please
come on back down.
Please listen to Tinfoil Hat podcast with Sam Tripoli, because that guy, first of all, Sam is super knowledgeable. Yeah. Like how you dropped your little Plymouth Rock in 1974 and the swords were sharp and everything else he said. He's a guy like that too. Like, he knows his stuff from back in the day. Yeah. And he talks about he's always been a conspiracy guy too, but being like a deep diver. Yeah. since, what did he say?
A deep diver into conspiracy theories?
Yeah, like going deeper down the rabbit hole into stuff.
Sure.
The stuff that he says, though, you would be like, dude, this is like a lifetime of knowledge that you've got. I can't remember what he said it was. If it was it wasn't the Trump election, and it wasn't 9/11. It was somewhere in between there. Something happened that didn't make sense. It might know it's the DNC thing where they knocked out Bernie the first time. I think that's what it was. Anyways, he's got a wealth of knowledge as well. But the guests that he brings on, there's a lot of them that I want to reach out to that I'll like bookmark and stuff to be like, I want to try to get this person and do the Zoom and shit.
Yeah,
that everybody's doing now. Because he just had one on the other day. I can't remember his name, so I won't try to guess. But dude, the guy is on point when it comes to like symbolism of the Illuminati and stuff and the numerology that they use. Which, by the way, did you Google the thing yet? The any 3 digits and then
any 3 digits, it'll come up.
I did it the other day finally.
Yeah,
and it was just everything was.
Doesn't matter what number you put in.
Big C,
any number,
big C, little
people.
V. Talking about the V rise, the V rise. Just another thing about Google, man. They tell you what you want to hear. I only did a couple. I did 333.
Yeah,
because I thought that would be a good one. I did 999, and I think I did like 222 or something.
Yeah, I tried some random numbers like 237, 365, and it doesn't matter. It all just comes up with different cases. All comes up everywhere you go.
New cases. Anyways, getting people to fucking drink from the well, dude. Getting them to take that first drop. So.
But that's what it's all about. That's what I think, though, is that's what it's all about, is just getting the first drop into someone's mind. And that is what helps awaken a majority of people, a lot of people, not everybody. Some people are just going to look at it and pass it on. But a lot of people, when you just give them a little bit of information, people are curious by nature. And so they're going to look into these things a little bit further, or they're going to start following things that may help them question reality. But that's the people that are going to be the ones that actually change their mind. There's going to be a certain percentage of the population that will never, no matter what you show them, will ever believe in this stuff that we're going to talk about.
Keep talking. I'm just going to look at them.
All the stuff that's going on. So, in essence, I think that just putting these little bits and crumbs of information out to people give them that little bit that they need in order for them to start doing research on their own. Like if you take the population of the whole United States, what is it,
330 million.
330 million? I would say 370 million all the time. 330.
That's close enough.
Yeah, whatever it is, 300 something million. You take 300 something million, and then you take out kids and stuff and all that kind of crap, and just go with the adults, and you have 50% of the population that is stuck in basically the middle of where they want to be at or what their beliefs are. And if you can take 1 out of 10, say we have 100 million people that are stuck in the middle that have no idea about this type of information, and you just take that 1 out of 10, like you said earlier, only 1 out of 10 of them are going to actually take that information and then fly with it. Eventually, that is going to turn into 1 million different people that are looking at this information.
Nope.
And that 1 million other people are going to start sharing that information with the people that they know, which is going to start awakening a lot of other people to what's going on, especially when the environment is going, with the environment around us is happening the way that it is, and everything is confusing at this time. Now, why are you saying no?
See, I do these subliminal things. This is another episode I want to do about psychological behavior with people and stuff, where I'm setting you up for my interruption, right? I'm like, like, I'm ready to talk. Yeah. Why'd you let me talk? Why'd you stop? You could have just kept ranting.
Keep going. That's why you said no, and I just kept on going. Yeah.
But then I started to be like, doing the thing like I'm ready to speak, and
why are you doing that?
Well, that's I'm doing it on purpose.
Why?
Because I wanted to interject on your comment, which
What's the fucking point of it?
Which was by the time that happens, the 1 in 10 and then the 10 to 1 million and 100 and whatever, it's too late because I feel like this is the only time.
It's too late. What do you mean it's too late?
Because by the time that happens,
it's already happening.
No, but it's not happening fast enough.
I don't know. I mean, you look around the world right now. And,
I am looking around.
If you look around at the people...
In my small world of 20 people.
If you look around at what people are starting to ask questions about, the stuff that's on the mainstream media, the things that the difference in people's comments when you look on pages like Bill Gates, go to Bill Gates's pages, and you've got millions of people going on there saying...
You've got thousands.
No, millions of people. No, millions.
80,000.
Go look it up. Look at Bill Gates's comment section, and you'll actually an article. There's an article I just read the other day about how there was millions of people going on his page and talking about how they knew all about his agenda and yada, yada, yada. But even if it was thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that were going on there, that's a hell of a lot more than 10 years ago. There might have been 3 people on the comment section.
Thank the Lord for the social media and the internet because of that reason alone. Yeah. Because of the fact that there is a way for people to get access to the secret knowledge, you know. The psychology of interrupting and pausing, whatever else too. I do this stuff at work all the time, and like sometimes I don't because it can be exhausting. But it's funny how it's just part of our society, right? Yeah. I do those motions to try to be polite, to interject, and then you allow me to speak. And
I didn't allow you to speak though. I kept going, and then I allowed you to speak.
I'm not talking about when I was saying no. I'm talking about when I was doing posturing and being like, yeah. Like I'm getting anxious to hurry up. Just trust me, you'll see it when.
But
I
know what you're doing. Like
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I guess I'm a little different than a lot of other people that you talk to.
Of course, you know what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. Everybody would know because that's part of how we interact.
Socially. No, but I mean, like I psychologically know what you're trying to psychologically do. You know,
man.
I already knew what was happening. That's why I kept going until I was done speaking and putting the period on the end of that sentence.
And I waited till your period was done before I actually said something to be polite too.
Okay.
We were doing the same thing. Anyways, that's for another episode.
We were doing the same thing. NLP, bro. I know all about it.
Oh, see, why are you dropping bombs?
Oh, we gotta drop bombs, bro. You all know about NLP?
I think I got a book right over here too about
Probably
NLP.
Do.
I keep thinking about like I'm gonna have like the little lazy man claw. And then we're talking about stuff. I'd be like, we'll pull it out. Like, right here.
Look at this says.
Side note, I've read 0 of those books.
Yeah, he has read 0 of those books.
So here's... Fuck it. I'll just say it anyways.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't want to do tangents and blah,
Who cares?
Blah, but that's all I do is tangents.
Let's fucking keep going from one thing to another.
Even though I literally haven't read hardly any of those books. Yeah. Maybe I've skimmed a few and I've read 2.
Yeah.
1.
2 completion.
0.
I knew how that feels.
I do a lot of first couple chapters.
Yeah, sure.
But here's the thing. This is what I believe, right? In my egocentric mind, I already know everything that's in those books.
Yeah, sure.
So I buy those books because they're references and resources for the information that I already retain.
Yeah, and how many times have you referenced those resources?
Well, actually a couple. I just did recently when I got my haircut.
You opened your book up and you said, "Oh, there it is."
No, but what I did is I said, "Hey, man, what you're talking about is the Collective Unconscious by Carl Jung."
Oh yeah, so you're just like you reference titles to people. You don't actually like look at references in the book. You're just like, "Oh, I have a book that's about what you're talking about."
Both. So point being, so Gods of Eden, right?
Gods of Eden, great book. If you ever need to read, if you're ever going to read something, read Gods of Eden.
First of all, peep it because we got Gods of Eden right there. 21 Leagues Under the Sea, kind of a Hollywood
20,000 Leagues.
Yeah, that's what I said. Zachary Stitchin's 12th Planet up there.
Yeah, never seen that one.
Never read it, you mean?
No. I never even seen it.
Seen the book before?
The book?
Yeah.
12th Planet.
Anyways, the point being, I buy all these books because I know what they're talking about already. I know what the 12th Planet is. Do you know what the 12th Planet is?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Nibiru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have heard of that book.
Oh, yeah. So now you know about the book, right?
Yeah, but you're telling me that all these books, out of all these books here, these thousands of pages, you already know what's in those thousands of pages. You don't need to go through them at all.
At least half.
You know what's at least half of these thousands of pages?
Yeah.
Bro, there's no way.
You know the ones I don't know about?
Yeah. What?
These bottom ones. Oh shit. These bottom ones that are over here. It's the Shadow's hard to read. They're basically all the like history and science books and stuff like that, like your encyclopedia types.
My jam.
Yeah, I love it too.
History.
I don't know all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it's called when a frog changes its own sex and makes its own babies?
It's called. Wait. I know this one. It's called something sexual.
They're asexual.
Asexual. Asexual is when you don't want to have sex with people.
That's for humans.
That's humans. No, you're talking about what is that called? When you
talking about frogs again?
When you just make babies on your own?
Frogs.
Is that what you're talking about?
Because they can be both sexes.
Oh, hermaphrodite?
No, you can't say that word.
Why can't you say it? Is that I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I think it's hermaphrodite out there.
I think it's on the list now.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, okay, tangent to tangent.
Wait,
let's come back.
Let's talk about this hermaphrodite thing for a second.
No, I want to go Dane Cook, vicious circle,
33
back
different
to what I was
genders,
saying.
right? So if a person's arm is a woman and the rest of his body is a boy, is that considered a hermaphrodite?
That's stupid. It's only about sexual organs.
Okay, I'm just
and your mental preference.
Yeah, mental preference.
And maybe your nipples, because I know people get those changed out
as well.
Anyways, the point being, yeah, I feel like I know most of the stuff that's in these books. So that's why that's the only reason I've even chosen to buy most of these books is because I'm like, oh, I know about this stuff. Let me buy it. Yeah. Let me pick out The Disappearance of the Universe. Okay. Yeah. I pull it out. I read the book. I actually read the book in the entirety, right? By the end of it, the amount of new information that I will retain and gain
85% more than you knew before.
2%.
No way.
2%.
There's just no way when it comes to books, just in general. You just read a book, the information, especially if you're interested in the book, the information that you'll gain from it is going to be a lot more than just even going on the internet and looking at one subject, because you go from one subject to the other subject to the other subject, and when you're reading a book, you just focus on that one subject for the entire time.
No argument there. But what I'm saying is, I don't need to read the book.
Okay.
Because I've chosen the book based on what I already know.
Oh shit! I wish my mind worked like that, man. I wish I could just look at a book and just be like,
I didn't just take a dump this morning and decide I know what.
Read a title of a book and be like, damn, I know 85% of this book already.
What X-raying the pharaohs means. All right, that should probably go on the bottom. Actually, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, just organize it by what you think you know.
The point is, after all of the years of research that we've been doing,
100%.
A lot of that information that we've gotten is in here.
Yeah, okay? This goes in more in
so
depth.
If it's going to tell me, oh, Plymouth Rock, that's a part I didn't know. Yeah. Did I really gain any more useful knowledge?
Yeah.
I gained some trivia facts, some dates and times,
there's the inspiration.
Which I choose to forget all the time anyways.
There's the inspiration as well when you're reading the books, because a lot of times, one line or one sentence that you're looking at the book and then you see something, you go, oh shit, that connects this book and that research and this research.
But that's what happens when I'm watching videos.
Yeah.
Or when I'm looking at memes or doing stuff like that. Those connections are made. For me to read, that's why I haven't finished the book, is because I can't stay engaged because I'm daydreaming.
Yeah.
And I'm making my own stories. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I can't.
It's tough to read.
It's very difficult to read.
Yeah, without drifting off to something else while you're reading it.
For sure, because three pages later, I'm like, new chapter. Wait a minute, what did I just read about?
Last chapter? Yeah.
I've literally never gotten past the book of Genesis in the Bible.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I know. You gotta skip around.
And when I mean the book, I mean the first 2 pages.
It always gets me when it says Noah begat yada.
Yeah, that's super hard to
30 pages of begatting.
The point being, everything that I feel like I've got information from the universe downloaded to my brain matrix style. Yeah. Then I see the book and I'm like, oh, I correlate with that.
You know what? I think books are.
I don't buy it for references. I buy it because it's a piece of something where you want to talk about something. Yeah. I know I want to talk about it too. And then I'll tell somebody what I feel or what I think. And then I see that they're more interested. I'm like, hey, you know what? I got a book for you. You should read it, because I've already looked at the videos. I've already seen the documentaries. I've already done the stuff that lets me know what that's talking about. So I don't need this book because I get the gist. I'm always looking for the gist of things.
Yeah, right.
I just need the gist, and then I need my emotional reaction, which doesn't make me a leftist.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time too. Like, that's what people say that liberals are, right? They're based off their emotions, their feelings. Yeah. But I'm talking about that epiphany emotion. Yeah. That instinctual body chime that you get where you're like, oh, this is fucking real.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think books can definitely do that. Especially the thing about it when you're researching all this stuff that we've been looking at for such a long period of time. It's like, bits and pieces of all different sorts of information, right. And the books are just a source for you to be able to get deeper into each one of those subjects and to really reference back to, well, this happened in this year and that happened in that year, and then link those things together. Which
is probably the other reason why I bought the books. Yeah. Because I know what it's about. I know I was into it and I enjoyed it. So I'm like, if I ever want to dive deeper, let me get a resource. Yeah. But then I never can, because there's always something new. Yeah, there's always another thing. Or it's all the fucking current events about what's going on, which might be a good time to talk about the most recent current event. Yeah. That happened today. That we found out about today.
Oh, you talking about Ghislaine?
Talking about old Jizzy.
Oh, Jeezy.
Oh, Jizzy Maxwell.
Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell. They call her Ghislaine. A lot of people say Ghislaine. I think it's Ghislaine. Some people say Ghislaine as well.
I like Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. That's a good one. Ghislaine.
Actually, hold on. I think one of my podcasts I listened to might have used that name.
Ghislaine, yeah.
Credit to Pardon My American, just in case.
Oh, Ghislaine
I'm still
Maxwell.
in your name.
Let's go on a little tangent about.
So I don't know anything about.
Okay.
Her. They said they arrested her in New Hampshire, or they have her in
New Hampshire is where they arrested
in the United States.
In the United States of America. She was running.
What the fuck is she doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
Why was she here in the States? Red flag number one.
Yeah, number one. That's exactly one of the first things I said.
Your top 10, top 5 most wanted people in the world right now. Why are you in the United States?
Right. Why are you in New Hampshire? Why are you in a small town in New Hampshire?
So tell me everything you know.
And how they find her. Okay, so basically what it is Ghislaine Maxwell was Jeffrey Epstein's confidant.
I know that. Jesus Christ.
Well, how far back do you want me to go?
Just today. Tell me everything you know about her arrest.
Oh, everything I know about her arrest.
Shit.
Well, shit. I mean, they don't know.
They probably know.
You probably know. Maybe not.
They know, everybody knows something by now.
Yeah.
I love. By the way, I love the hashtag that's already trending. Ghislaine didn't kill herself.
Yeah, I put that all over the place, man. So
tell me first. Tell me what you know about her arrest, because all I know is that she got arrested. It was in New Hampshire, and it was in the last 24 hours.
So she was arrested on 6 different charges, which included like enticing children, minors into sex. Enticing.
You said 6 different charges?
6 different charges, yeah. Enticing children into sex acts with older people, selling children or procuring children for different people, different heads of state, different, leaders around America. And then she was also indicted, I think, for 2 or 3 counts of like molestation on these females as well, because that's one of the things that her and Jeffrey Epstein would do, would be grooming these children in order for them
actually grooming, not Crystalia grooming. But
not Crystalia. Well, maybe Crystalia.
Don't talk about my boy Crystalia.
Yeah, you can't. Come on, man. You gotta let go of those heroes, bro.
No, boy, he's pretty awesome, and I've only just grown to love him in the last year.
Yeah.
But I saw in one of the comments somebody said, "Watch when this all comes out that Crystalia wasn't guilty," and he goes, and then Crystalia's first response was, "Didn't make a dent in my reputation." Dude, some of the fucking comments, some of the comments are so golden. But anyways, go.
All right. Well, anyways, going back to
you don't get it.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Anyways, she basically was traveling around the world for the past year or so. She's been hopping from country to country to country and from state to state to state. And before, they were saying that she was over in New Zealand, and then she like went over to England, and then she was all.
Was she ever? I wonder.
That's the thing, is was she ever in any of those places? My thoughts and my feelings on this are that this entire time she's been cooperating with the FBI, or at a certain point in the past 3 to 6 months, she started cooperating with the FBI and the CIA and all these people, and started already saying this stuff. And then she told them, "Well, you might as well come get me now. I'm in New Hampshire," or they already knew that she was in New Hampshire in the first place. Because the fact that
but why would she get to make the call on when they get to come get her?
Well, because I think she was already kind of working with them. Maybe they didn't know where she was even at that time. And they said, "Well, look, we got all this information on you. If we catch you, it's going to be worse. So you might as well tell us where you are." And then she's like, "All right, well, or come to the States and we'll pick you up wherever it is. And we'll just say we found you. And so that way the rest of the people don't know that you've been squealing already as it is." And that's why they picked her up in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire wasn't even in the question of a place where she would even be. There's no connections to New Hampshire.
What did you say about the house that she was picked up in? You said it was
a small village. It was a small village that she was staying at. I don't know if it was a house or if it was if she was staying in a hotel or whatever it was, but all I know is a small village in New Hampshire. And it's just like, how could we not find this person that you said is like the top 5 most wanted people in the world?
No Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no Wi-Fi.
Nobody knew she was there.
She was off the internet the entire time.
Those are the people that don't have access to Twitter.
Yeah, but the thing is, how did they find her? And that's the question. How did they find her in New Hampshire? What was the connections that brought her there?
So what do you think is going to be what's next? Epstein's dead. Nobody's paying attention to Epstein anymore. The media did a good job of taking the hashtag Epstein didn't kill himself and running with it to where people said it so much that it was just like, okay, well, what's next? Who cares?
Yeah.
Which fucking drives me crazy, people's attention span for stuff like this. But anyways, so the Epstein story, as far as I'm concerned, has been dead already.
Right.
No pun intended, since the beginning of this year almost.
Yeah.
At least since we went on lockdown. Let's say March. Ever since the lockdown, that's all anybody cares about is being in the lockdown. And now you've got the race war or the riots and shit leading into the race wars and crap. So now that they've got her, it trends today, it trends tomorrow. What's next? Because it's not major news. I can already tell you it's not going to be in the headlines. It's not going to be a big deal that people want to hear about.
I mean, maybe not in the future, but it was today, which was really surprising. Today, when it broke, I was actually really surprised to see a lot of the major news networks where the first thing they said this morning was she was arrested, yada yada yada,
which is a red flag, or they want to get it, put it in the cycle. Let's do it, and now let's talk about what's coming next. Oh, it's swine flu.
Because she's not Jeffrey Epstein, but what people don't understand is that she basically Jeffrey Epstein. She was there throughout the entire career that he was doing what he was doing.
I heard she's a bigger player than Epstein.
She is because she's the one who actually introduced Prince Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein. She's the one who procured
well, you know, her dad,
Virginia Giuffre.
Her dad, now this is one thing I always think about people with podcasts and conspiracy podcasts too. They always have their laptops ready to go. You got all your tabs listed on what your today's topic is going to be. And so, like, if I want to pull up somebody's name or date and time, click, I just hit it. And like, well, just right here. Or I tell old Scriffy McGuff over here in the corner to pull it up.
Yeah.
And show me on the big screen.
Well, they're constantly cutting. So at any time they can pause it, look it up, and then talk about it again.
Oh man, that kills the flow.
Yeah.
Some of them do that.
Some of them.
I don't watch hardly any of the ones that cut. I don't like the ones that cut. Anyways, and I forget shit all the time.
Maxwell.
Yeah. Jizzy. So I believe, this is what I'm going to say, if I can't look it up right now, so don't quote me on it, but her dad is tied to CIA Mossad, which is Israel's version of CIA, something like that. And that they were big players already as far as scandals and blackmail and all kinds of stuff. Jizzy comes in, she's a player too because it's part of the family, and then she brings in Epstein to be part of this. Because everyone looks through his history. He comes out of nowhere, money out of nowhere, no education, kind of a dickhead, a little bit charismatic. People say he's good looking too. I'm like, why do they say he's good looking? Even back in the day, like his 70s style. Oh God,
gross.
But anyways,
he has a weird shaped penis,
and he's so I've heard.
Yeah,
and
really
he's
weird, like Harvey Weinstein. Why is it that all these rapists always have these weird penises?
Because they be smashing it in the
That's
doors,
one thing I wanted to look into that, but I don't want to like
search
like weird penises.
I'm gonna start looking at penises and make sure check this guy out. You know what? We just need to look.
Why the fuck do you have a weird penis, bro?
Dalia, if you're listening, put it out, dude. Just tweet a pic out.
Tell me if
we'll
you
know what's up.
Weird penis.
But anyway, so she's a bigger hitter from what I've seen,
Yeah.
and that she even brought Epstein in to be part of the socialites and part of the blackmailing group, basically.
Yeah. I think that she was involved in it to a certain extent, but she wasn't as powerful as she was until Epstein got involved. And because Epstein had the ability to, he was a very, very eccentric, popular person. Everybody knew who he was.
That's what the mistake was, because I think even if she was involved, I think that dealing with Epstein brought it to like a celebrity level.
Yeah, they did. That's what it was. But I think that's what they wanted it as well, because in order for them to get these very high-ranking celebrities and officials over to these islands, in order for them to blackmail them and tape them doing these crazy things, because that's the whole thing about Epstein Island. That's what the whole purpose of it was, and that's why Jeffrey Epstein was so rich and so filthy rich, was because he had all these videos of these people doing these crazy acts that we'll get into later, and all this pedophile stuff over there. And he blackmailed these people in order to get the riches that he had, in order to get the houses that he had. Like Lex Wexler literally gave him a $1.25 million home in New York, or something like that, $12.5 million home in New York, just handed it over to him. And nobody ever asked the question of why is this guy just handing over him this stuff. And part of the reason is because of the blackmail he had, but also because of the connections that he was able to give to Lex Wexler, which is the guy who's the owner of Victoria's Secret. Yeah.
I'd also heard something else about it, some kind of deal that that needed to be made. It wasn't just a blackmail thing, something to do with real estate or something else. But like I said, that's one thing about why I should be reading books instead of listening to podcasts and other things, because so much information that it all comes out. I just get the gist of it, and then when somebody else asks, I give them the gist. Yeah. But like in my environment where I work and stuff, the minds that want to inquire, whether whoever it is, young or old, whatever, as soon as people start to ask certain questions and stuff, it's like, where do I begin? Yeah. Like I know where I began. Yeah. But it's like, holy shit, do we want to go back down and start looking to see?
Everybody's beginning's different.
I know, and that's the thing is trying to find. That's why I don't like to preach to anybody unless they inquire. Yeah. And people like.
Learn that
people know to come to me for information, and they'll I just got passed by somebody the other day. So tell me if you heard about this too. I was leaving work and one of the people stopped me and was like, "Hey man, I heard you're," and I was like, "A bitch?" He goes, "No man, I heard you got information or something like that." And
it's like a drug deal. Hey bro,
yeah,
you got information.
And I was like, basically, you're trying to I get what he was talking about. So I was like, yeah, I'm the conspiracy guy. What's up? Like, what are you looking for?
This is like a brand new guy.
Yeah. Lives in a different area.
See what I mean? There's another woken mind that's like he's curious.
I know, but it's not enough though. No. It doesn't multiply fast enough.
But how do you know
when we've only got 4 years left?
You can't see that happening though, so you can't really know. You have to take a look at what's.
I can because I can use it based on how many people approach me that I don't know.
But randomly. That's your world. I mean, look out in the world like we were talking about with Bill Gates.
And we can times that by 10, but we're also talking about 7 billion people. Because this isn't just America. This is a global thing.
Yeah, right.
Don't forget, everything that's going on right now is happening in other countries too.
Right, but America is the central place that this starts.
He asked me if I had heard about ICE and them taking like 3,000 kids disappearing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
from
the ICE holding area. Like all within like a month or something.
It was ICE. It wasn't from an ICE holding area. It was from a school. It was from a Chinese school or something. There was like 2,000 students or something like that went missing.
This guy was talking about Hispanic people because he was Hispanic and he referencing to people that he might know.
It might have been Hispanic. I'm not sure.
And I told him, I was like, well, whether or not you're talking about CSP or ICE or anything that has to do with children, people go missing all the time.
Yeah,
kids go missing all the time.
All the time.
And I was like, that's a pretty big number. I haven't heard anything about that, but I've been
300,000 children a year.
This was the week that the George Floyd thing happened. So I told him, I was like, my research right now is based on.
Oh yeah, because I just got a wind of what you're talking about, like today.
See, and he might have been hearing something from somebody else that was closer to it.
Yeah,
it happened to the person that they know or a family member that they know. But anyway, so I'll get approached. People will ask questions and I'll give them little tidbits and then they'll ask something later. Somebody asked me the other day, hey, what's the name of that podcast I should look up? I told them Tinfoil Hat Podcast and stuff.
Doing a lot of free promotions over here.
Dude, I love Tinfoil Hat. I'm telling you, him, Sam, and Eddie are coming to Washington.
That's $5 every time, Tinfoil Hat.
Dude, screw that. It's free. It's free. I thought about it too. I was like, what can I do? So the co-host on there, Xavier Guerrero, he's on for the Tinfoil Hat Podcast. I'll send him stuff on Twitter and he'll like it.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And he hasn't responded, I don't think, with words, maybe one time, but basically he'll at least acknowledge like some of the stuff I send him, and messaging and stuff and like it. And so I'm like, I can always try to reach out to XG and have him push it to Sam and then tell Sam, hey man,
find out who his sound guy is and just talk to
exactly. Well, he's like his co-host, but I'm like, if Sam and Eddie are coming to Washington to do their comedy thing, are they driving up here?
Yeah.
Probably, because you can't fly hardly anywhere state to state right now. Yeah. And I was like, dude, if I could just reach out and be like, hey, on your guys' way down, I mean, I'll buy you lunch, come through, post up. And
how many people they probably have saying that to them?
Tons, but how many people have a platform?
Well, that's probably a lot of people, actually.
I know, probably. Honestly, dude, I saw the numbers of what podcasting is, like 200-some-thousand different people that not podcasting about this, but just in general. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's a lot of numbers.
It's actually less than I thought that there would be.
And well, it probably is more. Yeah. It might have just been for the States.
200,000.
That's a lot, though. That's like 200,000 channels.
Yeah.
Think about like when you go to your
but that's like the population of like a city.
Yeah, and everybody in that city has a podcast.
But in the whole United States, though, a population of one city, it just seems kind of small to me. 200,000 podcasts. I thought it'd be like 20 million people podcasting.
Yeah, fool, that's a lot.
A million people.
To me, that's a lot.
Not 20 million. Not 20 million. That's too much.
To me, that's a lot. Because if you turn on the television to go look at your news, and look at your sports, look at your comedy, whatever it is, what do you get to? Like 800? Yeah. And half of those are channels that don't exist. They're movie channels, all kinds of stuff. So your entertainment channels, maybe 300 at the most.
Yeah. I just figure with so many people out there that are trying to start platforms that there would be a lot more than that. But I mean, still 200,000 is a lot.
It's a lot. And who knows if that number's right. It could mean something else. Mm-hmm. The point is there's tons of them. Yeah. And they probably got hit up by a bunch. But you know what? I'm very convincing.
Yeah.
If they would just take a look at all these books I got.
Yeah, that's right. Just offer him a BJ. He's like, yo, bro.
I'm going to talk to Eddie Bravo and show him my gi and be like, bro, I got fucking a BJJ, you mean,
Look at me relate to you, Eddie.
You meant BJJ.
Look at me relate.
Look at me relate, bro. I know what a guillotine is. All right?
Right?
I got stripes, a poster of your name on my white belt. And then Sam, I'll just make him some food or something. I don't know.
Go get candlelight dinner.
Anyways, I would love to get those two dudes because I wouldn't say shit. I would just be like, "Hey, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah,
what's fucking going on?
Let's talk."
Especially because here's one thing I hate: Eddie Bravo is a G to me, right?
Yeah.
because he goes deep on a lot of his stuff and he's so passionate. And regardless if his information is always 100% accurate or not, his passion is something that 100%. People should pay attention
like Eddie
to.
Bravo. Now, back in the day, well, and he even said to himself, back in the day, his mindset was a lot different. And over the past probably 6 months to a year, I've really grown to like the stuff that he says and the stuff that he's talking about and the way that he brings it out to people.
So here's what I hate though, is whenever he's on something that I watch, a podcast, whatever, hardly anybody lets him fucking speak.
Yeah.
People always, especially on Joe Rogan, that makes me so fucking mad. I'm like, dude, this is supposed to be one of your best friends, and you shut him down every time. Yeah. Even if he's talking about shit that you think is crazy. Joe always say something about like, "Oh, Eddie, let's not get into the weeds. Let's not do this." Like, first of all, what are you talking about?
What? And that's again,
what's the subject of the day that he's interrupting?
Back around to Joe Rogan. That's another thing that's shady to me.
I know. There's a lot of things.
He's like, "Oh, you're getting too deep into conspiracies. Let's stop and pause for a second." And in fact,
Eddie always does a good job too. He's like, am I okay?
Yeah.
I won't say it. I'm not getting mad. Yeah. I'm not getting mad. I won't talk about it. But then I'm like, why not let him talk about it? Everybody else can say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Joe talks about eating elk. Brian Callen comes on, talks about why he's so fucking ugly. Fucking Brendan Schaub talks about all the glory days he used to have. And then Eddie Bravo
comes on, smoking weed, talking shit about aliens.
And then Eddie Bravo is like, well, flat Earth, this and that. I'm like, Eddie, come on. Like, so even if it's dumb, so what? Some people like that shit.
Talk about it,
and people are logging in to watch this episode because Eddie Bravo's on it.
Yeah.
So let the man speak.
Yeah.
But it's not just on Joe Rogan. I've seen it in a lot of places that he's on.
I think a lot of people are scared of that type of information. If it's not because they're trying to distract from the information, it's because they're scared of what it's really.
I've even seen it on
on
Tinfoil Hat, but that's Sam's problem is the host interrupts the guests all the time.
Yeah.
He knows it. People tell him all the time, but he just can't help it because he's so passionate too.
Yeah.
But I would love to just let either one of them, like if they came, they would probably wouldn't say very much because they'd be too busy interrupting.
Yeah.
But I would love to get at least one of them and just let him go.
Yeah.
Like, dude, start to finish, whatever. And then just drop little bombs. What about Epstein?
Yeah.
What about New World Order? What about 9/11? What about fluoride? What about this?
Right.
And just let them go off on their tangents about whatever, which is what we're going to do too. But just because I admire those people.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's why you want them on.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Jizzy.
What about the two people tied to Clinton that died the last week or two?
Two people.
There's a dude that jumped off the building.
Oh, right.
I forget how he was tied in.
Well, he said he committed suicide.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying he was pushed off of the building. He was an advisor for one of the campaigns of Hillary Clinton, I think it was.
There should be a new Clinton body count that starts the day that her appeal got denied, and they said no, you have to go to court in September.
Oh yeah.
From that point on until the day of September, how many people will be dead that are associated to her? Somebody was making a comment on one of the podcasts I listened to, and they were saying the same thing. Like, basically, if you know somebody who knows her, you better fucking run.
Yeah,
get out of town.
Yeah,
because even just knowing somebody who knows somebody,
cartel mafia style,
dude, for real. And then the other one was that family of three, right? That drowned in the swimming pool.
Right. Yeah. It was a grandfather, the mother, and the daughter all drowned at the same time in the swimming pool. And
the story is nice because the wife was talking about like, how sad is this? And I instantly was like, that's fake. That's fake story. That's not really what's going on.
All three people drowned at the same time?
And they said that it was a new pool, and they didn't know it was deeper. It was an above ground pool, but none of them knew how to swim. Yeah. All three of them didn't know how to swim.
So they got a pool and didn't know how to swim.
They bought a house with a pool in it, I think. And the little girl went out and got into the pool, and the mom tried to save her, and the grandpa tried to save the mom and thing. And right, it happens all the time. We hear about it in the rivers and stuff. Sounds good. Yeah. And I only heard it one time, so like I said, too much information. Yeah. But I heard that person, the guy or somebody in that family, is tied to Clinton or Clinton's campaign or something else. So immediately I go, well, that's not the real story.
Yeah, 100%. If her name pops up at all, whether he was directly tied to her or not.
And plus, I told the wife,
it's suspicious.
I was like, you know what? They only put certain things on the news for a reason. A lot of people drown. Yeah. A lot of people drown 3-4 at a time, tragedy all the time. But why this story? Why was this story put out? Because it's part of the ritual where they put it in your face. So
I think also it's like a warning to other people, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
This person was tied to me and now he's dead.
You know what's up.
Yeah, what's up now? Say something else.
And then Jizzy's like, screw that, come get me.
Yeah, I'm here waiting.
Within a week, yeah.
So going back to Ghislaine Maxwell. What's going to happen, I think, now going back to Jeffrey Epstein is now that Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey
Going
Epstein
back to 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago we went on this book rant and whatever else we were talking about. So basically, she knows everything that Jeffrey Epstein knew, right? Mm-hmm. Everything. She was there for the majority of the time. Everything that he's been involved in with his court cases, she's also been involved in. She's been around it. Not only that, I don't know if you know, but Epstein got her helicopter's license, then bought her a helicopter. And then Epstein got her a submarine license so that way she could drive submarines. And if you look on Epstein's Island, there's tunnels underneath that island that are actually known. Not just that island, but islands all around that. So you can go from one port to the next port to the next port. And when you're in a submarine, you don't have to do the same type of logs that you do if you're a boat because you're under the water. Anyways, he got her those 2 licenses, which obviously, to be able to take people back and forth and not be known about, especially the submarine one, that's the really suspicious one.
For sure. Who the fuck is like, I want to learn to drive submarines.
And then here's a submarine for you to go out and do what in, for however long. So anyways,
talk about deprivation tank, dude.
The next things that have started to come out is the documents that are showing that one, she lied under oath about not knowing Virginia Giuffre and all these other girls and blah blah blah, didn't give them massages, and now we all know that yes, she was there in the rooms with them, having threesomes with them, having sex with them, all this kind of stuff. And not only that, but she also knows witnesses that haven't been named yet. There's like 3 or 4 witnesses right now that are people that were involved in the same stuff that she was doing with Jeffrey Epstein, and those are just now coming out as well. So there's a lot of names that are connected to her that nobody even knows who they are. I mean, we have an idea of who these people are, celebrities, politicians, that kind of stuff, but we don't know who these people are that she is going to end up coming out and talking about. And I think that's where we're at right now, is we're seeing what we're going to see next if she doesn't get Epstein.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
It's too obvious. I feel like they won't kill her. There's
but that's what I thought about Epstein. I thought there's no way that they're going to go in and kill this guy with his paper sheets. He's in a padded cell, single cell, guards all night, and some fucking how.
But that's what I'm talking about. Look at Nobody Gives a Shit. And then you get the fucking George Floyd crap, which has one videotape with one guy with hair. Yeah. One guy with a videotape with no hair. Tattoo. No tattoo. Yeah. Looking lethargic. Looking coherent.
But that's the aftermath. Those are the aftermath of the mainstream media. I know. That's the problem, is that people don't look further.
But you see what happens is people don't look. Mm-hmm. They're looking to the mainstream for their news, and then they're taking it for what it is, and then off they go. So if the mainstream doesn't cover the issues that need to be covered, like Epstein and whatever else, then some people are going to look into it, some people won't.
Is there cockiness about the repetition and how many times that they can actually do this without people starting to really go like, okay, what in the world? Because think about the fact, just think about the fact that when Epstein got killed, people that had no idea who Epstein was, and this jail cell thing happened, the people even that are on far left were going like, what the
for sure
fuck
that definitely
was that?
Was the 9/11, as some people say, for some people, but
100%.
Not enough.
No,
because it died out.
Yeah,
because it was cool. Then it was the meme. Then mainstream took it, and then it flipped, and then it went away.
Yeah,
and then Corona, all that stuff took over, and everybody had bigger things to pay attention to, like how do I pay my rent?
Right.
Which if only you knew that Epstein was tied to how you pay your rent. Yeah. It's all connected, man. But I don't think that they will take her out. But at the same time.
That's what I really hope.
But why wouldn't they? Because what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. Then that's the thing. They've already shown that they could get away with it with Epstein. And so it's why wouldn't they try to get away with it with Maxwell?
Let's speculate this. Let's go MK Ultra on one of the witnesses, one of the victims, maybe the main one.
Virginia.
Right? So I hate to put this. It's always funny because we can talk about whatever we want, but I always try to keep in the back of my head. This goes in public. Do you want to say anything in public? For thousands to see.
Let it go. I want to hear it.
Well, so I'm just not going to say her name, but somebody like that, somebody tied to the case, right?
You already said her name, man.
But now I'm taking it back.
Yeah, but now erase that
and pretend it's something not that. Yeah,
someone not her.
Someone not her, but like her.
Yeah, right. A friend of a friend.
Connected to the case overall.
Yeah.
Could be a parent, whatever it is, but you MK Ultra them to take Jizzy out on the way to court or something like that. A public execution in a fit of rage, passion, a crime of passion, something like that. Because then people are like, makes total sense. Duh, look what happened.
Harvey Oswald style.
Exactly. And then nobody's going to question that narrative. Not nobody, but nobody that is unaware.
Yeah.
Because it's broad daylight.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. I would have done it too. Those kind of things like that. People are going to say. So if it happens, I could see it being like that. But I wouldn't see it be another Epstein style.
But then you have to take into account as well the corona.
What about it?
So, I mean, she can contract coronavirus by herself in her cell.
That's what we thought was going to happen to Weinstein, right?
Yeah, well, it did happen to Weinstein, but then it came back and said, "Oh no, I'm clear, I'm good to go," because maybe he was like,
maybe
I
they
don't
really
want to
did.
die.
Maybe they really did get all those tests, and then they just had all the false positives like everybody else does.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh no, they said I got it, man. Oh no, they said I don't got it. They said I already had it. They said I don't got it." Who knows? But anyways, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we got her. I'm glad that there's things moving forward. I'm glad that General Flynn was exonerated and we can move on with his thing.
We'll see in 3 months. I mean, that's what it's going to be. What I think they should be doing is they should be going straight to a trial. They should be question this person day in and day out. The minute they got her, they should have her in a room, question her. But that's the other thing too, is that how much information is it that they have on her already? Because a lot, even with Jeffrey Epstein. You know that he gave up a lot of information already to these people.
So I heard he was only arrested for 5 days.
No, that isn't
right. It wasn't that.
No, it was much. It was like months.
Because he had already attempted once, anyways.
Yeah.
what did I see that somebody?
And then he moved to a different. He moved to a different prison as well.
And then it was within 5 days or something.
Yeah. That after that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying it was already a while ago for me too, but I knew it was longer than that.
Yeah. But these people are building a case. You know what I mean? They're building. If you want to take down the top players in these things, which when you come to the top players, Ghislaine, Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein, they're just players in a bigger game. And the bigger game is whoever's behind, whether it's Mossad. Some people are saying it's Mossad. Some people are saying it's Deep State. I tend to think it's both of them in cahoots with each other.
Both. And I still think that's just barely another notch above.
And exactly. There's still even another couple notches above that. Yeah, exactly. So they're building this case against all these different people, and they're not going to just let people know they have this information, because they're just going to either give it out and then all these people can run or do whatever they're going to do, because a lot of the people, like I was saying, are unknown of who she knows or who she's squealing on, or who even Jeffrey Epstein squealed on before he got killed. And so eventually what I'm hoping is that one day they're going to open up all these indictments and say, we already have all your names and all the evidence that we've needed because of John the God, because of John the Baptist, because of Maxwell, because of Epstein, because of all these people that we've been gathering over the past 2 years. We have everything that we need to take maybe even a country down.
Well, sooner than later, hopefully. Because I feel like time is of the essence. Mm-hmm. It has to be, because no matter what you want to think, the election's right around the corner.
Yeah.
The deep state does not want, if Trump is as he appears to be,
right,
they definitely don't want him another 4 years.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. That's why we're seeing everything we're seeing.
But also look at how we're seeing everything we're seeing, and we never saw it before. Mm-hmm. So this is where I fall into the double-edged sword, where is it because Trump is the illusion of our safety net, and the whole Q thing about don't do anything, we'll take care of it, because he's going to get to it. All the meanwhile, look at fucking what the fuck has been going on.
Right. Well, and
it's worse than it's ever been. Things were shitty with Bush. Things were shitty with Obama. Things were shitty with everybody. But they were gradually shitty. Yeah. We had one major thing, and then everything was fine. And then maybe they passed a bill, and then a new law, and a Patriot Act, and no children left behind. All these different things came up, but nothing came up every month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially
they weren't destroying America in all these main cities.
That's what I'm saying. So why do it now with him? This is what I'm saying. So if it's going on and Trump isn't part of it, why is he still standing back and allowing so much of it to happen? Okay. Because people are dying.
Right.
People are dying from
being murdered in the streets.
From the corona. People are dying from the riots.
Right. People
are dying from suicide alone because of the economic turmoil and everything else going on. And this is all just stuff that's going on here. Mm-hmm. You let the fire burn hot enough, and you can't put it out. Mm-hmm. It's too big to control. And it seems to me,
let it burn hot enough and it puts itself out.
Meaning that everybody dies.
Not really.
And you're left with a small couple tenders that you take care of, and you say, "Hey, get in line."
It can get to a point where people decide to say enough is enough.
And that's the thing too, is I don't think that people would ever do that. We're too lethargic. We're too asleep. Even those of us that are awake are asleep in other ways. I'm speaking about myself for sure, but you know what it would take for me to grab my gats and go outside and be strapped, clap, clap?
Having someone right out your front door?
Yeah, someone.
Yeah.
But what happens if everybody let's put it this way. What happens if that someone is dressed in military fatigues and with a SWAT van out front and whatever else and whatever their intentions are, they are. But when that person shows up, what am I going to do? I mean, it's basically a matter of, do I decide to pull out my weapons and die right here because there's no way I'm going to defeat this enemy, or do I go with them and then die later, or be put whatever else?
Well, if it was ever to happen, there would be a massive majority of people who ended up dying before. I think eventually it would get to a point where people would start defending themselves, but because the military is the way that it is, they would know to hit these bigger cities first, or maybe even the smaller cities first, and get some people, as much people as they possibly can, before others start to join together, because that's what would eventually happen. You can't.
But we also think that it's our military that we're talking about. What if it's a different military that we allow in to do this kind of stuff?
Well,
some Red
to
Dawn
quote
shit. The
great Yamamoto of Japan, he's a Japanese
Bitcoin guy
general. He said it'd be a fool would invade mainland United States because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass. And I think about that all the time. This general knew back then, it doesn't matter how many people go over there to try to invade this. There's so many people with guns and so many people that are willing to ready to defend themselves, that there'd be no way that they would be able to win. If there's a statistic that if you took all the guns of just the United States of America, and then you took all the guns of all military in the entire world and you combine them together, you would have the guns of the American people outweigh the guns of the rest of the world by 3 to 1. That means 3 guns for every person, or for every military, or for every gun that the military in all the world has. So, and that's just guns. You're not talking about tanks and freaking, airplanes and bombers and grenades and rocket launchers and all that kind of stuff. Fire and flamethrowers that people have, because some people have 40, 50, 60, 70 guns. You know what I mean? There's militias popping up, constitutional militias popping up all over the place, where people have just been waiting and itching, like, come on, let's start a revolution. I'm ready to go.
I do not want to be around those people.
I don't want to be around them either, but I'm just saying they're there.
I feel like those are the hotheads who are just looking for a reason to pop off.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Yeah, exactly. There's a proper time for everything,
I'm cool.
But to go back to what you were saying, back to your point about why is Trump kind of doing this and sitting back. One, what happens every time Trump decides to do something that the rest of the states say they don't want to do?
So I know what you're getting at with this point, and I get it because I get it.
Right.
But if I'm not somebody who gets it, then all I see is that Trump hasn't done shit.
Right.
And look what happened to Chaz.
And that's exactly what
Why
they
didn't
want.
Trump take care of it? Instead of people saying, why didn't the mayors and the governors of those states take action?
Which is the actual blame of where it should go.
But the blame doesn't go there.
Right.
Because the mainstream media doesn't push that. So most people who don't get their information correctly, they think that, it's Trump's fault because he didn't do something about it.
But at the same time...
Plus, he's the target already for every... I took a shit that hurt my ass, it's Trump's fault.
Yeah, your analogy of letting the fire go, until it burns out, that's what happened that's what I mean by, let it burn out, is that's what happened in Chaz. He allowed, because he could have called the National Guard at any point in time, but he allowed it to happen.
They were already there, I think.
Yeah, at one
they kicked
point.
him out, the governor or the mayor, or whatever.
Right, exactly. And so the people in Chaz destroyed themselves in like 4 weeks' time. He gave them everything he wanted.
Even before that shit.
Everything that they wanted, he gave them. Said, go ahead, start your own country. And what'd they do? They threw up fucking border walls. They ID checked people. They extorted money. They raped. They pillaged. They killed. They murdered.
They used arms to.
In a 4-week period, they shown that they don't know what they're doing when they get what they want.
But why? It's
and
hard.
That wakes minds up. I mean, it opens up people's minds to go, oh wait, these people are fucking morons. Am I these people?
It does, but to me, I'm like, you can't allow that kind of stuff to happen. You can't let it go that far just to make a point.
You have to, in order to actually wake people up, because you can tell people till you're blue in the face, but until they see it in real life, that's the only time. And when you can't do anything about it, like you said, he set the National Guard in, and they turned him around.
Let me put it this way. So the message that he's trying to get out by making that point, proving that point, is it worth the lives that were lost?
Yeah. No, it's not. Point. It's not worth it.
So then there has to be a better way.
But at the same time, what would have happened if he decided to take the military down there and stop these people that were killing? He would probably end up killing somebody. The National Guard can be killing somebody. And then what would happen to people? Here's dictator Trump killing innocent civilians. Right. We need to impeach him now.
For sure. Yeah. There's no way for him to ever play anything and him not be the villain.
Right. And to a certain extent, I mean, as messed up as it sounds, this happens all the time in war and all these types of things. You have to pick the better of the two. What's going to cause less casualty? What's going to cause, what's going to end up better? But to go back even further into your point, what I kind of see is doing with why so much going on at one time. Why is it all happening right now? It's because these people that are in control, so I'm just calling them the deep state, not left or right or anything, but the deep state,
right.
They want you in this perpetual state of chaos. So that way you feel so anxiety ridden and stress ridden and uncomfortable, and subconsciously you're going, well, when Trump wasn't president, it wasn't like this.
Right.
And so when it comes to be November 4th, you're going to vote for someone else because you just want to go back to normal. Yeah, just let me get out of it.
It's funny because everyone keeps talking. That is something that keeps coming up that I keep hearing about, is people saying back to normal, back to normal. It's like, you realize that, well, you don't realize that's the problem, is back to normal just means that all the same fucked up shit that controls you is still going on.
Yeah.
But you think you have the illusion of safety because you don't have a direct threat in front of you anymore, 100%. Or you don't see the chaos. At least with the chaos, it makes people question, have conversations, talk. But I just feel like I was going to bring this up earlier about the reason why I have all the books and everything too. I just feel like there's got to be a more peaceful way for a lot of this to take place. And I don't know what that answer is because I'm not in that position. And until I can see more minds awaken and there be a majority on one side versus the other, where right now everybody's too split. And it's not split 50-50, it's split 30 and 20 and 10 and 80 and whatever else, because everybody has their own agenda, right? The only thing that's together is BLM and the LGBTQ RSTOV movement, because
9735.
There's a whole thing about how Pride basically, or that group took over BLM for funding and all kinds of things with Soros too, but
I mean, they're hand in hand now, especially. I mean, now whenever you go to a BLM protest,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
LGBTQ is going to be there protesting as well. But not saying anything against the community.
I'm not either, but I think it's jacked up because why? It's like, why have them be tagged along?
Yeah.
And say, okay, we accept you because you have issues too.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to it, and you finally get your day in court and you get to say, okay, what do you guys want? And you get ready to say, well, we're looking for equality and excuse us, actually, we would like to talk and we want to say that we would like this, and this for all of us. And now all of a sudden your voice has been hampered out because of a larger group or demographic that's being given a chance to speak.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to be on their team. Like we said, you got BLM, you got your Pride guys, you got your conservatives, all this jazz. Until we stop looking at each other as the different and we collectively get together and then decide, I have no idea what the solution is, but I know that we are too far away from it because of all the dividing that we've done to each other and how we disagree and how we view things. Yeah. And whether you are in conspiracies or you're a Democrat or whatever.
I think one of the first ways that we need to realize is that we're not equal. We're not equal as people inherently in nature.
Right.
Things are not equal, and we're trying to make
we
everybody and everything equal, and it's an impossibility. It's a dream, and that the dream is impossible to get to, and that's why it works so well with these communists. That's why it works so well with these Marxists, is because it's a beautiful dream, but that dream isn't an actual reality because there's always going to be an imbalance between people. There are some people who are great and wonderful, and there are some people who are shitty and suck, and there's no way to make those people be equal. You know what I mean? It's not saying that man can't be equal in as color and race, because one of the reasons race even still exists, color still exists, because people talk about it all the time.
Right.
It's never this boy was killed in Virginia. It's always this black boy or this white boy or this whatever. It's usually they're talking
the labels,
about the person of color.
I had something, I think I might have wrote it down too in one of my notepads. It's not here with me today, but something about that too, where it's a good play on words that the people in power have used against us.
100%.
They make us think that we need to be equal as each other, you versus me. But then we identify each other as, how do you look? How do you smell? What's between your legs? What kind of money do you make? All these things that have nothing to do with equality. They're an illusion of what we think we should all be given the same.
Exactly.
But what we really all should be given the same is the right to decide,
the opportunity,
and have equal opportunities.
Exactly.
Equal, whether it comes to employment or where we want to live or whatever else, all that kind of stuff should be the same.
Right.
But we use identity politics instead and pretend that all those things should be the same when they will never be, because everybody's born differently. Yeah. And then we say, because you're born differently, now you are different. And it's something that's so simple, but it's not taught, and it's ingrained in our brains through our own families and society and everything else too, that would be a good solution to start with. but talk about a lot of work in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
because that's just not, somebody can't just get on television and tell you, oh, we're all the same. By the way, it's not about what color you are. It's just a matter of you having the same opportunity as me, regardless of what color you are. Matter of fact, we won't even discuss color anymore.
That's the point. And imagine if we lived in a nation where you didn't just not talk about color, but we didn't talk about color, we didn't talk about race, we didn't talk about gender, we didn't talk about people's skills. All we talked about was America and how to succeed in having that opportunity, and how we're going to give everybody that same opportunity. But because the reason why we separate everybody, and even people that are really passionate about racism and how it exists, because racism exists in the world, but it's never going to go away. Somebody's going to be racist somewhere. And right. We have to not let it have power over us by stop talking about it, by stop making it a big deal. Somebody called you the N-word. Okay, well, move on with your day. Right. Instead of making it like, oh, this person called me an N-word, so now every person that looks like that person.
So let me smash their fucking windows out.
Right, exactly. And now what is that?
And even the guy who's the racist, the guy says whatever he wants to say, but then let's say that same person shows up to the job the next day, and now the two of us have to build this house.
Yeah.
Do I say, fuck that, I ain't about to work with no motherfucking blah. Or do I say, okay, well, I know how I feel, but I got work to do, so whatever. People can't have a mindset that they can separate from their ideals and what they think makes them better or worse or whatever compared to anybody else.
Because of your feelings. And that's what it's turned into. If you offend me and it hurts my feelings, they're more important than anyone else's feelings. And this, here in America, there was a man of color, and he was on this video I was watching the other day, and he was talking about racists and stuff, and he was like, why do I care if someone calls me a name? Why do I care if the person is a KK member? He's like, they have the right, just as I do, to do whatever I want to do and to say whatever I want to say. It doesn't have to affect me. That's when the problem happens, is when it starts affecting me and I start changing my life due to what someone else thinks about me.
Or we start making policies that say these people deserve more because something else.
Exactly.
Which
we've seen over and over again. That's
work. What I'm saying. Too much fire is burning right now, because changes are being made, ideas are being put out, so that when laws are getting passed, people are on the side to say, yeah, it's time for this. And people, it might not even agree. Like all these fucking videos of people getting down on their knees and shit. And, oh my god, fuck, get me started. But it is setting it up for when it comes time. Like, okay, if you really believe that, now put your name on the ballot to say that we will pass this law that only allows this and this and this to take place from now on. That's right around the corner. Regardless of who's president, that's all setting us up for that takeover.
Well, and that's going back to the point of this whole chaotic world that we're living in nowadays. When the reason I think that everything is also happening is, if you look, like you said before, we've had these other events happen throughout, H1N1 before that we didn't lock everything down. We didn't shut everything down. We've had these wars that have happened before, and it wasn't anything in the United States of America that was really affecting us, besides the wars that were going on across the country and like what it was doing with the economy. But now we have rapid succession of false flag after false flag after false flag after false flag after event after event after event. And I really feel like it's because they're taking their playbook out and they're looking through it, and they have crossed out 1 through 10, and they got 5 more to go. And now they've already crossed out. Now the corona was number 11, and now the race war was number 12. Those didn't work. So now we're going to have to go to H1N1 that's going to come in November, or we got to go to shutting down the rest of the economy. And they're getting to a point where they don't have the same control and power like they used to. People are too awake. More people are too awake to recognize that something definitely different is going on. And it's getting to a point where November 4th is going to hit. What I think is going to happen is, if Trump wins in November 4th, it's going to get to a point where they're like, well, we've already done everything that we can do. There's nothing else that we can do to try to get him out of office. He's already been in office for 4 years. He's got another 4 years to go. We can't impeach him twice. That didn't work the first time. So what are we going to do the second time? They're going to have no choice but to kneel down to what this person has told them that he needs to do.
No.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I don't think they'll give in ever. I think they'll die on their shields.
Yeah.
Well, on their shields made of freaking foreskins. But I don't think they're willing to give up. They might give the illusion of defeat, only to wait until that 4 years is up. Because now, okay, let's say that Trump gets the 4. What do we do after that?
That's the question. But what's really the question is, what's he going to do within that 4 years to prevent whatever's supposed to come after those 4 years?
Yeah.
Are these people going to be taken out of the spots that we are? Look at all of the people that have
taken out, but let's not forget that other countries are involved in this.
Right. But if you can fix the corruption here, you can fix the corruption in other places. Look at Europe. Look at Boris Johnson. Look at Blexit. Look at Brexit. Look at all these other places that are going through and starting to say, there's a deep state on all of our countries, and we need to start working together to kind of figure out.
Fucking news about the adrenochrome thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. People are starting to talk, and that's what I mean. It's hitting mainstream, even if it's not here in the United States.
Okay, but look at what's changed in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
nothing.
A lot.
Nothing.
No, so much.
Nothing.
But they've distracted you so much for so long.
There has been. I know there's been things that have changed, but all we've seen is a couple of drops in the bucket, and then a bunch of fire over here, and we don't have enough drops in the bucket to put out this fire that they've started. So the amount of stuff that Trump would need to do in the next 4 would have to be tenfold of what he has done so far.
Which I think is going to be, and the reason is not even necessarily because of, it's because of Trump and the things that he's doing, but the other added effect that these deep state aren't recognizing is the fact that all they're doing is they're basically pulling back a slingshot or pulling down a trampoline, and when if he wins the next election, that shit's going to let go at some point, and we're going to bounce back so much further, because right now, say 13 million people have lost their jobs, right? During the coronavirus, during all these riots and all this crap that's been going on, all these people have lost jobs, lost their businesses, and at a certain point, those businesses are going to open back up, and those jobs are going to come back to the economy. We've already taken sanctions for Canada, Mexico, China. All these manufacturing jobs are going to come back to America. Things are going to start being built back in America. So if he does win in 2020, the economy is going to be the greatest that it's been even before the 1920s, when the Roaring Twenties happened, because of the bounce back of the repercussions that have happened these 4 years. And all
Roaring Twenties and then Great Depression.
Setting up and then knocking down is what's going on right now. But you also have to remember that Trump also has a very large dynasty of children, right? He's got Ivanka, then he's got Don Jr., then he's got Eric, and then you got the smallest one, which is Barron, which is actually, if that kid ever became president, that'd be something crazy.
Another time. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't like to speculate on the positives for the future because I don't like to be let down.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean I don't want them to happen, but I also take what I see, and what I see is certain people having certain bullies being in charge, being allowed to bully because the principals aren't in school. Yeah,
but more people. But the thing is that before, people didn't recognize that they were the bullies, and now people are starting to recognize that the bullies.
Yeah.
Look, that's one of the things I was going to bring up before, because I knew we were going to end up talking about this stuff. There's been so far 6 Republicans that have won the primaries in these states to take over the spots of Democrats, seats that have been sat there for 40 years, 40, 50 years. And that's still going on right now. We got another woman in Washington, D.C. that's about to take over AOC's spot. All these people, are starting to come out, because people are tired. Even Democrats, you have. I
think she'll transition into porn.
AOC? Yeah, I hope.
That's her last career choice. She was a bartender, then a congresswoman, then she's on the big screen.
But they're flipping. Everybody's flipping, and it's because they're trying to give someone else a shot now. And enough people, and that's what I mean when you look in the background, things are changing, but you just don't know. You can't notice they're changing because of how much crap is happening.
Well, you only notice it if you look at it or you subscribe to somebody's channel that puts that information out. But what we don't see is the effects of that change yet. And that will come, obviously. But like I'm saying, we have a short amount of time to make a big difference in a lot of things. And there's still a lot of things that need to be changed after all this. Because let's say he takes out the deep state and now he puts his people in office or whatever. What do we do about the education system?
Right.
What do we do about the Federal Reserve? And now it's part of the Treasury. It's absolved and everything. Yeah. But we're still in.
I mean, it didn't really change anything yet.
Exactly. Nothing has changed yet. Pollution in the oceans, the fact that the food quality and GMOs, there's still so many things that need to be taken care of. And I feel like even me, my chips are on the table that once Trump takes out all the elite and everybody else, that all those things will just fix themselves. But I don't think so, because there's so many hands and so much greed. So there's so much more work that needs to be done. The only thing that can help all of us is complete and total transparency. Yeah. Stop fucking around and acting like we can't handle it. Tell us what's going on. Show us. Give us the names. point the fingers and let people know that what's the truth about fluoride? What's the truth about GMOs? What's the truth about not having a free market society and hospitals and
films and documentaries and festivals and books and all these things being able to get out to the masses of people instead of just independent films.
We need information. People need to be informed.
But I think if you get rid of the deep state, it's not just going to change by itself or it's going to fix itself. But at that point, you actually can start to make it more transparent. You can start to teach people more because the people that were blocking that information are no longer in power or are no longer doing what they're doing. I mean, you look at the media right now, the amount of people that have said, I'm done with watching CNN, I'm done watching MSNBC because of even people that don't like Trump, they see they're constantly doing these things that are lies or fabrications or are making it seem a lot worse than it is. They're even starting to turn off the news and say, I'm done looking at this kind of stuff. And I think that now that these people are losing power, that we'll be able to do that a whole lot easier. And you got to remember too, is that the people that are in the media, they're only doing what they're told. Now, if you don't have the people telling them what to do and you have the others that are saying, now you have the ability to say what you want. Now you have the ability to report on what you want and actually be an unbiased, independent media news source.
What's the name of the press secretary that we have right now?
McClaney, I think it is. Kate,
something with
Kelly McClaney or something like that.
Yeah, Kelly something like that. She's a beast.
Oh, she's a beast, man.
Props to her.
Yeah, 100%.
Props to Tucker Carlson right now.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. People say that people are going after him right now for stuff. I don't know anything about
People say that Tucker Carlson is involved. He has deep ties and involvements into some rich family. But at the same time, it's like, who doesn't in those places?
All I'm saying is he's the stuff that he will talk about.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that, and I know it's right stuff. So of course there has to be an opposite. Yeah. But at least it's on mainstream. At least it's on television. Because what's funny is it's funny how much people will be like, I don't watch Fox News. Yeah. But 10 years ago, you just watch the news. Yeah. It's 6:00. Who's on? Oh, Fox is on. I'll watch Fox. Oh, it's 8:00. What's on? CNN. Oh, at least that's what it was for me. Yeah. It wasn't about I needed my liberal news or I needed my Republican news. Yeah. I just wanted the news. So I'd flip through the channels and see what news is on. Yeah. And then is it local or is it national? And then just watch the fucking news. In my brain, it was all just the news regardless. I mean, now it's all been divided to whatever else. But props to the press secretary, props to Carlson, and props to Anon News. They won OAN, whatever that is. Yeah. It should be Anon.
Yeah, it should be.
Only because I don't watch any of their news, so I don't get my news from the news, so I don't watch any of that.
The only reason I haven't got them is because they cost money.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
but I see when the little brunette journalists ask the questions at the press secretary, and whenever they ask certain questions, I'm like, that's a good question. They should be asking that question. Because so many times I've seen how the journalists are flipping whenever the press secretary says something. And like, well, what about this? Like, they don't even, she'll put it back in their face. They don't want to address it. They try to divert it and then put the blame back on Trump. Well, how come Trump did this or that? It's so fucking irritating. Like, I feel like it should be illegal. Yeah. I feel like it should be illegal to be in the news and be able to do what they're doing now.
Yeah, 100% it should be illegal. I mean, in a sense, I think that it is if you can prove it. If you can prove what they're doing is submission.
Well, subversion,
yeah, something like that.
Damn, it's 5:30.
Well,
time to wrap it up.
Got to wrap it up.
So before we go, the last thing I want to say is 4th of July weekend is this weekend. Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
I'm going to try to put this on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. The wife said, stay up late, just edit it, do what you can.
That'd be cool. Let me see it before you do it, though.
Why?
Because, I want to watch it before you're going to watch it before you put it up.
I'm going to edit it, like try to make it sound okay. Hopefully we didn't talk over each other's microphones. I'm looking at the peaks and I'm like, man, I hope that like you can't hear me too good in your mic. And then it's just all right. I mean, trash.
It's a pretty good setup.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I put the wire in. I put green and red and when I should put red and green. I'm definitely going to do. I've used Fiverr for a few things, but I definitely, once we get a little bit of a base, I'm not going to be ashamed to be like, hey man, write to me and tell me where I should do with the lights.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's a GoFundMe for real cameras instead of using cell phone shit. But anyways, happy 4th of July to everybody. Celebrate however you want. Just be safe. But
and shoot fireworks off. Don't listen to your governors.
They said we can't shoot fireworks?
They're saying, fireworks, you can't have fireworks or firework displays, or you shouldn't be outside shooting off fireworks.
Then why are they allowing them to sell fireworks?
I don't know.
I'm freaking so stupid. But what I am going to say is be careful. Not because of the fireworks. Because it's the 4th of July. Yeah. And I feel like...
especially the big cities that are out there. You don't need to watch yourself.
The corona isn't making the waves that it was. The George Floyd thing is done. Now we're just watching Black Lives kind of hit certain cities.
And they've already said they're going to go try to destroy crap on 4th of July. So,
well, even besides them, I think I'm waiting for false flag stuff.
Yeah,
something else.
Sure.
Might not be on the 4th of July. I don't know. It depends on the numerology.
Yeah.
Maybe the 7th is the day. 7/7 or something like that. But definitely for the next week, I feel like we should be on our toes. Not necessarily us, me and you, because of where we are at. But you never know.
Yeah.
My money is on big earthquake coming down the line.
Yeah, could be.
They need a natural disaster so that there's no one to blame except for Trump's lack of response, even if he does everything right.
Tsunami.
But if I get this out on time, I hope I do, because I don't want to procrastinate and I don't want to run into a bunch of walls. But so if you hear this, just be careful out there.
Hell yeah.
But Ramil, thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
That's the first one. Sorry, it's hot as shit in this garage
bunch
right
of times. That was real fast. I didn't even figure it was going to be that long.
It started flowing, and we could easily go 6 hours if I had air conditioning on me.
Sure.
But yeah, that's good for now. We'll do this again soon.
Peace.
82 and you, out.
Out.